Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
We are here at the Michigan Golf Show, the largest consumer golf show in the world, I believe. And we have here Chris Lewis, who has become the expert in collegiate golf in Michigan. Chris, you were a recent college graduate, and how did you get started writing about collegiate golf?
Well, I interned at the Golf Channel back in May of 2008 until August, and attended the PGA Championship at Oakland Hills. And just really gained interest in the sport. I've really been passionate about golf since I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. I actually been playing and just writing my own little articles just for the fun of it. And I reached out to Art and just asked if he needed any help with freelancing. And one thing led to another. I helped him out with some articles about just golf courses in the area. And then I just suggested to him that maybe we could focus on some colleges in Michigan. I thought maybe at first just like some of the larger colleges, but then as it went on, we focused on Division III, Division II colleges too. And it just became a series that, alphabetical order, just been starting off with Adrian College, and so last one was Northwood University. So, we're about, probably about half of the schools we've covered so far in the last, 2.5 years or so.
Well, it's been absolutely fascinating to see how many colleges have golf teams. I was really surprised. Hadn't actually ever thought about Madonna has a golf team, Lake State has a golf team. Are you surprised to find about how many teams there are?
Well, I'm surprised, and I'm surprised by the locations of a lot of these schools that have them, because you don't think of a lot of these areas as being golf cities, up in the Upper Peninsula, but you realize that there's a lot of good golfing options up there the more you talk to the coaches and the team members, and they get a lot of good recruits up there too, which I was a little surprised about, because you think that, up in the Upper Peninsula, 5 hours away from Detroit, might be a little hard, but they've been getting recruits even from outside of Michigan too, in Canada, Ohio, Indiana, Chicago area. So it's been interesting. It's been fun to just hear their stories too, and hear how they, found out about these golf programs and how they're doing so far within them. A lot of these teams are newer. Some of them have been around for 30, 40, 70 years even, which is surprising too. But.
Well, as you start to tackle a story for one particular school, you always seem to talk to the coaches. I bet you have some ideas on what makes a good college golf coach.
Well, I would say, first thing is just patience. You gotta, a lot of these guys, they're just starting off, they're just learning how, I guess moving from high school level to college level is just so different. Not only, it's classes, but in, sports itself. I know just from being a recent college graduate, I remember just transferring from high school to college, and it's just a bit of a process that you have to just get used to and adapt towards, and you have to be patient with that process. You have to be persistent. A lot of these teams are newer teams, so a lot of the coaches don't expect that they're gonna win their conference right off the bat, but it's about taking baby steps almost, and just setting goals for the season and working right towards that, and then setting new goals following that.
The conference championships always seem to be the biggest goal for all the teams, no matter whether it's Michigan State or, say, Northwood.
Well, I think that was another surprise, too, is learning how big some of these conference championships are for some of these smaller schools. A lot of them attract 20, 30 or more teams, and they're really competitive. I mean, a lot of the guys that, are shooting in the low 70s, and it's also laid out at courses that are very challenging, I would say, even for larger schools like Michigan State. So it's no matter what division it is, it's going to provide a challenge for the coaches and the players.
Coaches have so much to do. They have to arrange the meets, they have to recruit, and they really are kind of jacks of all trades, I guess.
Well, that too, and it's just about having personal relationships with the players. I think that if they don't have that, if they're not knowing their players individually and knowing them just at a personal level, then it's hard to really get that whole team unit together too. And I think a lot of these teams I've noticed, and I don't include this in the articles perhaps, but when I've talked to them, they have different events that they go to together before the season starts and after the season too, and a lot of them have good alumni programs too. Have former players come in and talk and encourage them.
Sort of a bonding experience, if you will.
Oh yeah, well, all of college is really, but I think that's what's nice about collegiate sports is that it provides relationships for these players that will last their whole lives. Really, it's good friendships, solid friendships. It's people that they're going to talk to 20 years from now or more. So it's good for that. It's good just because I think it prepares them for the real world too. It's competitive out there, and if they can learn how to not only focus on their own goals but on their team's goals, then they'll have more success down the road.
As you've been investigating all these different teams, is there anything that would be a big surprise that you've discovered?
Well, I think I've been surprised by some of the teams that are still developing. I've looked up really a lot of these smaller schools have only been around within the golf programs for a couple years now, and that was kind of a surprise to me. I thought that because like schools like Medina University, they've been as an institution around for 50 more years, but they're just starting to get into the golf arena. I think it shows too that golf is becoming more and more popular amongst younger people, and I think it's just attracting a whole new generation too, which is good.
Growing the game.
Yeah.
One last big question: when are you going to write about the girls?
Well, I mentioned that to Art before too, that we should probably do that, but I guess it's a matter of time,
It's another whole round, right?
Yeah, probably.